channel, Sword of Freedom Astrologer, once again here and recording another video and bringing you another slice of freedom about spiritual awakening, actually this time. And this is the video number 7 in the mini-series I've done on YouTube called Spiritual Awakening through Astrology. And this one is number 7, so I mentioned that. If you haven't seen the previous videos, please go look at them. They are in a orderly kind of list on my channel. Its link is below. And right now we're continuing on more of like a positive note still. We're like, it's just phase 7. I call this phase starting to put your work out there. So last phase we had was the rise of the phoenix. We just had come from the dark night of the soul. We had just kind of been to hell and back, and all of our identities had burned. But now, and then in the rise of the phoenix, we understood how strong we really are, how much power we have to utilize, to use in this material realm and internally as well. And we talked a little bit about all the kind of Neptunian energies of being able to psychically tune into things and emotionally tune into things, and also the Plutonian side of understanding and seeing through people's bullshit and having that very strong gut feeling. But now, when we come through these matters and we've found the strength and we've gone through a lot of the transformation needed actually to gather the skills to understand how deeply powerful we really actually are, now is actually the time to start putting your work out there. So because if you understand and start to understand spiritual awakening is not something just kind of like a joke or something what you do. Spiritual awakening is something we do for a reason, to go through the darkness, to go through the light, to finally to start helping others on our path as well. So this is, I think, a must to understand this spiritual awakening as these steps that are constantly being taken, and one always precedes the other and gives the next step the kind of necessary bouncing ground where we can take the next step, because we've now built something underneath it. We've found the strength, we've know our bullshit, we cleaned our bullshit, we burned our bullshit, and now using the skills acquired during all of this kind of purging and letting go and change and gathering of that wisdom can now be used to help others going through these matters, guiding others through these matters. And because once you are in those spaces, in those dark spaces, there are obviously teachers that come to your aid as well, and to help kind of guide you through it. But a lot of those moments in those darkness and let's say discovering your gifts after, and understanding your gifts after you've gone through that darkness, there are still phases, like mini phases, let's say, inside those bigger phases where you're completely alone and you're discovering lots about yourself, you're discovering lots about our reality, you're discovering lots about all the realities around us inside of you, and you're gathering all of this information for a reason. You're not gathering for it just to be kind of standing there. And as we are going through a huge consciousness shift, with it comes always a spiritual awakening shift as well on this planet Earth of ours. I'm recording this during 2022, but we've been going through this for a while now. We kind of, let's say, gotten to the epicenter, to the real thick of it right now in our society, in our spiritual lives. And there's always constantly more and more people having these transits that I talk about, these difficult ones, and they're being awakened constantly, um, to the bigger nature of things. But like I've said throughout this series, that the real gist is that it's not always easy, and we need people who have gone through these matters to kind of help guide and make it understandable to these people what is going on with them. That like life isn't, um, it's not just suffering, or life isn't punishing them per se, but it is actually a necessary part of their evolution as a soul, as a human being. And it's actually very, very required of them to go through these matters, to let go of all the things that are not serving them anymore, to release, in order for us to go to the next level of human evolution, human growth. And as you can understand, these are big themes, big topics. It's difficult to go through them. We can need all the help we can get. Now, so if you already have gone through these matters and you're kind of like, okay, so what should I do? I have these skills. I noticed I have all these huge amounts of knowledge and wisdom that can benefit humans, and I have these kind of spiritual gifts. And then, so what do I do? Now is the time, after the rise of the phoenix. Now is the time to start putting all of these pieces together that you've actually learned during all of these trials and tribulations, and seeing the light as well, and start putting these things together, and in a manner where you can support, help, create things for others who are going through the same thing. Now, it is, I think this phase for me, it's one of the most difficult phases to kind of put together with astrology. And I haven't really, but like I've seen bits and pieces of transit, but the transit I'm about to show you and I'm going to talk about doesn't always mean that it's only like the spiritual side of things, or the spiritual business expansion, right? Like for example, on this example that I have here, you can see that Jupiter, the benefactor, the kind of bringer of luck, expansion of good things, of opportunities, is right on the MC, or conjunct the MC, as we say it in astrology. So this means a lot of career expansion, usually in a person's life, new opportunities in career, bigger, being seen openly in the world for who they are, and me being more in the public eye as well. But it doesn't always mean that it has to be after all those spiritual happenings, let's say. But it can be, when just for example, you're a lawyer, even, or a doctor, whatever, your profession, and you haven't gone through spiritual awakening, then Jupiter on the MC, or the highest point in your chart, still expands your career and brings you out into the open more. So this is just one of those transits. Of course, the ruler of the MC and Jupiter connection in a positive way. And we can even talk about square and opposition, or conjunction, or the ruler of the 10th house with Jupiter. It's very similar. Again, Jupiter kind of helps you to put yourself out there, to expand your career and expand those skills, and show those skills to the world as well, for other people to accept, or for other people to, they don't always accept it very quickly, but with Jupiter on the 10th, or on the MC, they do usually accept it more easily. But the point I'm making is, it's the time to start now, after all the transformation and all that wisdom gathering. It's time to put your work out there, to help others, and to expand their consciousness, and to raise the vibration of planet Earth. So guys, hope this video makes sense about phase 7, starting to put your work out there. And we have a couple of more phases to go in this series, and I will bring them to you soon. Thanks so much for watching, listening. Hope this video makes sense to you. I hope by now, video 7, you're starting to see the kind of necessary steps, what is necessary for us to kind of expand and grow as humans, as souls, and then to actually put it into material world as well. Appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe, and thank you very much for listening, watching. See you again soon in the next video.